Bringing the dog home was so special for Cindy. Cindy got the dog all set up with things she had purchased just for him. She could not figure out why her new dog Toby was bringing home money. She thought this was just going to be a weird perk of dog ownership and would get to the bottom of it later. But then, after a few more days, she received a mysterious letter. When she opened the letter and read through it, the contents shocked her. But the surprises didn't stop there. Within hours of opening the letter, the police showed up at her door. Cindy was a 25-year-old woman living alone in a nice suburban neighborhood. She had a job and her house was paid off. However, her house was very quiet. She was missing the company of others. After doing some research about pets that made good companions, she got in her car and went to the shelter. She was definitely not prepared for the surprise she was going to get. She decided on an older dog named Toby. She wanted to give him a good rest of his life. The first couple of months with him around went very well. Toby came home inside one evening like usual, and Cindy prepared his food. However, as she was bringing him his bowl, she realized that something was different about Toby. Something had been tucked into his collar. On the collar was a little bag. Cindy took the bag off and handed Toby his food, which he very much wanted. The pouch was filled with dollar bills. Cindy counted them, was shocked. Why would someone tuck a pouch filled with money into her dog's collar? Cindy mulled around the idea of calling the police, but decided that they weren't really going to help her if she'd found the money. Instead, she called a friend. She asked if her friend would like to go out to dinner with her. Cindy even elected to pay for everything. Her friend, of course, accepted the offer for dinner. Cindy was dressed very nicely. When they arrived at the restaurant, she wasn't known for being the type to have a lot of extra cash lying around. Cindy's friend asked how Cindy had managed to pay for the new outfit and now for dinner, given what her friend already knew about her. Cindy told her friend that she had gotten a new job with a top salary. In all actuality, Cindy worked a local daycare center. Nevertheless, later that week she went out on a date and insisted on paying for the man she was going out with. Again, she picked a luxurious dining location. Had the dog really brought back that much money for her to be living so large? One day Cindy got the mail, and an unexpected letter was waiting for her in the mailbox. Mysteriously, the sender was someone she didn't recognize. She read through it. When she realized what it said, Cindy got the chills immediately. The letter was written entirely in Chinese. Cindy went to translate it, and when she read through the translation, her chills turned into feeling sick to her stomach. When translated, said, "We gave you the money, now leave us alone. We'll finish the dog off when it gets back to us to clear all tracks." What was the letter going on about? For a moment, Cindy didn't know what to do anymore. What was she even supposed to do? Should she call the police? Cindy decided she was going to keep entirely quiet. She hoped that no one would find out that she had even received the money. Then she nearly jumped out of her skin when the doorbell rang. The police asked Cindy if they could come in. She had no choice but to let them. Cindy felt like everything was going all wrong. The police were there for a good reason, see? It had something to do with Cindy's behavior. Cindy's friend had heard about Cindy's fancy date with this new guy. Her friend also thought it was strange that Cindy had bought an expensive outfit and paid for a fancy dinners. She had told the whole friend group about this. One of the friends thought this whole thing sounded very fishy. She decided to call the police and explain the story. The police naturally understood that the friend wanted to do a well check on Cindy. They asked how she could possibly afford so many expensive dinners if she wasn't getting money from a man. Cindy couldn't avoid it any longer. She told the police about the dog. The officers asked Cindy to come with them to the police station. The police had been researching some interesting goings-on in the city recently, strange happenings. Money coming from nowhere, people going missing, illicit items being sold on the black market. They were obviously concerned that Cindy was involved, even unknowingly. They called in a team to take action. Cindy broke down in tears. She couldn't believe what she was hearing and how it had come to this. She consented to the search and said she was really telling the truth. Then, she suddenly remembered that she had received the letter. The agents began the full search of her house, which she had already consented to, Of course, they had to run it through their own translation software because it was still written in Chinese. They read it over several times and discussed matters amongst themselves. Also, as they searched the rooms, they saw a pouch lying on a dresser. The pouch was exactly as Cindy had described it in her dog story. Just then, a woman came into the police station. Suddenly, a lot of things came together. It was Cindy's neighbor. She had seen this dog being put in front of Cindy's door several times over the past week by some strange man. By now, the house search was finished. The officers, of course, found nothing suspicious that would tie Cindy to any illegal activity. The officers decided to watch Cindy's house until the dog or the stranger appeared. Once their plan was set, it was time to put it in motion. The very next day, Cindy let the dog out as planned. The dog wandered off into the nearby woods. The cops waited. Several hours later, a man drove up and dropped the dog back off. The police arrested him at once. The man belonged to the mafia. The dog was the go-between to pay someone off. When the dog was adopted from the shelter, things got completely mixed up. Cindy was allowed to keep the cash she'd already gotten, but would have to keep the dog indoors. Everyone else was arrested. Since Cindy wasn't getting daily money from the dog anymore, she would need to be more frugal. She was mostly glad she wasn't in jail.